lied over, and, they misrepresent Daniel, everything Daniel says. It's not going to happen the way you expect things to happen. And it's not going to be as out front and in your face as you expect them to happen. A lot of things happening are done behind the scenes. They're done behind the scenes. Just like with Bush going over to Iraq to meet with Maitreya in the Green Zone, and planning what they're going to be doing here in America, this whole controlled economic crisis, the economy's crashing, the banks are empty, starting up the roundup of Christians and patriots, this war on the saints, because he's furious. And so I do expect that the 144,000 will be taken off of the earth before all of that hits the fan. What I do worry about is so many of those sitting in the churches today being asleep at what's going on. Because nowhere, even if you are appalling Christians sitting in the churches today, nowhere does it mention that there would not be a famine or civil war before a rapture would occur in the last days. Because I've been there. I know Baptist theology like the back of my hand. 30 years of it. And a very astute student at it, I might add. I know all your arguments. I know all your illusions, your delusions, your beliefs. Been there, done that. Lord pulled me out of it when I started praying for truth in all things. And that's all it takes, is just a heart for the truth and getting sick of religion and seeking Him for the truth in all things so He can start to lead you and teach you and pull you away from the errors that you're in. And that's a daily journey, folks, always asking the Lord for the truth in all things. It's a daily journey with Him. And so if truth-seeking is such a journey, then doesn't that fly in the face any kind of pre-illusions we have about you can read the Bible front to back and think you know it and have all the truth that's in it? Because if that was the case, then someone who's read the Bible front and back 100, 200 times, some books 100 times themselves, for 20, 30, 40 years, they would pretty much have a grasp of the truth, don't you think? I'm just looking at my own life, because, I don't know, I've been reading the Bible since I can remember, since I learned how to read. Front to back, front to back, front to back. And that's why it was just like, not a big shock for the Lord to tell me Paul wasn't his. Because I knew that already. You can read Paul's books, read what the Lord and the apostles taught, and you know that there's two different messages being taught. And it takes a knowledge of the Bible to be able to distinguish that. And so, just back to the basics, folks, that things aren't always going to happen the way we expect them to, and so be prepared for the unexpected. I know the church is waiting for this huge rapture, and, this coming war with Russia and Israel. They put Ezekiel 37 and 38 at the middle of the tribulation period because Hal Lindsey tells them to. Because he says so. 32nd degree Mason tells you what to think and everybody jumps. Folks, just stop listening to the TV preachers and start asking the Lord. Because things will start to make a little bit more sense. And if you look at Ezekiel 37 and 38 and look at Revelation 22, I think it's 21, 22, that aligns with Satan's release at the end of the 1,000-year millennial reign. It has nothing to do with during the 7-year tribulation period. Well, I'll tell you what I have seen coming for Jerusalem. Satan's going to have his fleet of UFOs. And I don't know if that's Sananda's arrival in September of whatever year or not. He's having a hard time right now because he was going to have this entrance, this Maitreya. And it's hard to tell everybody and convince everybody you're God when your UFOs are crashing to the earth. And that's why I came up with that silly It's Raining UFOs song. Because that's what's exactly happening. The Oregon is pulling their UFOs out of the skies. They can't, somehow the Oregon is conflicting with these navigational systems of UFOs. And the Lord's confirmed that to me. They're being pulled, they're crashing out of the skies. And our media just keeps talking about meteors hitting the earth. But they're UFOs. And no doubt anywhere that we've seen supposed stories or of these stories of UFOs crashing, they're orgoned areas that they've come into contact with. Because every place that I've been reading about meteors, I know are orgoned areas. I know we've got a warrior out there. We've got a warrior down there. We've got a warrior over here. We've got warriors all around the world that have been putting orgone out. And so these UFOs are going to run into orgoned areas and just hit the ground. And that makes another reason why this whole beast charade, this whole quad, I think there's 4 of them, that would be Maitreya and Jesus and Mary and Jermaine. Perhaps this Jermaine, he's supposed to be the one that leads the Beast Economic Program on it, this whole Nasera thing. There's going to be 4 of them together. And I still see Black Beast in the codes, and so, not sure who that is. Sometimes Obama's name comes up, sometimes it doesn't. And so whatever. There's an Aryan, there's an Arab, there's a woman, and there's a Negro. And so there's 4 of them mentioned in the Bible codes. But you'll also see the New Age themselves talk about their whole group of ascended masters they have coming. We have many beasts coming. We're not just going to be limited to the Antichrist. And then don't forget we have President Bush, who has already pretty much convinced himself that he's messianic, that he's a prophet of God. And he's going to be on a snorting monoatomic gold mission to transform and permutate his own human body into one of these light bodies. It's a mimicry of a resurrected body, and they can get this through monoatomic gold, abusing that, taking great quantities of that daily. And, for all intents and purposes, I see Bush still being affected by that, if he's going to go that route. And you know what? He just may go as crazy as announcing to the world that he's God, and then transforming into this light body. This is, that's a hard one to swallow. King George. But he's already being forced to act, do his part on the scene of the world script, the stage. That the hate thought, the thought crimes bill that I have on my website, OregonWarriors.com, OregonBlasters.com, where it talks about their hate thought crime bill. We're even thinking a thought that they might consider of terrorism could land you in prison. They're pulling at straws just to find the legislations and excuses to throw people in prison. And they're going to be using draconian legislations like that one. Also, they may be pulling out, within a very short, maybe just a couple weeks, more legislation. Or they're going to start enforcing existing legislation. But they're going to take away free speech. They're going to make it impossible to speak against King George. And so that would also be a precursor to these roundups. Many patriots would go under that one. Any thinking, rational human being would go under that one. But it's not ours just to be taken as dumb sheep to the slaughter, folks. Defend yourselves. Defend your families. They want to send military soldiers to your house. When you think back at the Holocaust, and don't send me emails saying it didn't happen. When you think back at the Jewish Holocaust, they claim all these millions of Jews were just rounded up, put on trains, and taken to the Auschwitz. And you always wonder, why didn't they do anything to defend themselves? Why didn't they shoot soldiers as they came? Why, when they were all standing in line and there was a few soldiers around with guns, why didn't they just team up and take the guns away from the soldiers? There was more of them than there were soldiers. They just got on these trains like sheep to the slaughter and went to their deaths. And